Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the bands and hinge assembly on your Big Joe should you ever need to do that. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is remove both side tables from the grill. Then the next thing you're going to want to do is take a couple of strong plastic tie wraps, and you're going to want to secure the hinge from the back side on both sides of the hinge. And then you are going to want to loosen both bands. I would recommend loosening both of these to a point about like that. You want to leave them together, but just get them good and loose, both bands. At that point, you're going to want to check to see if your bands are good and loose. My top band's not good and loose, so I'm probably going to go ahead and take this bolt all the way out. And in fact, we're going to go ahead and take both bolts all the way out. And when you have both bolts loose, you're going to want to have somebody helping you hold that hinge because it will come right off. So we now have the band and hinge system off and the dome lid still sitting right on top. So now we're going to set the other replacement hinge in place. Okay, on the next step here, before we put the new hinge on, I have gone ahead and removed the band bolts. So you're going to need somebody to help you lift this on and set it in place and hold it in place so we can put the new band bolts on once it's on the grill. Okay, after we've set the new band in place, I've got the first bolt on the bottom started. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the second bolt started. And you need to make sure that the pins are lined up in the front and the back, and then just put these bolts back in. Once you have the bottom bolt in place, go ahead and put the top bolt in and get it started. Don't worry about tightening it up completely yet, but before we tighten that up the rest of the way, we need to come around here to where we have that tie wrap that came on this, and we're going to go ahead and clip that tie wrap off and get that loose. And once you have that tie wrap loose over there, you're going to want to come in and tighten these bands down the rest of the way. And once the bands are secure, you'll want to take the handle off your old band and put it on the new one. And after you've got the handle tightened back on, you're going to want to come back around and tighten the bands again. You want to make sure these guys are good and secure. And the final thing you're going to want to do is check the spring tension. You're going to want to raise your dome lid and see if your dome will stay up. If it won't stay up on its own, you will need to tighten the spring tension, and you'll do that with the big hex wrench. Down here, you'll just give it a couple of quarter of turns to the right to tighten it, and if it's too tight, you can loosen it back up. So I think we're in good adjustment here, so my dome stays up just fine right there. So that is the process for replacing the bands and the hinge. And once you have your bands and your hinge replaced, you can put your side tables back on and you're ready to cook. And one of the things you're going to want to do periodically, just like you would with any other grill, is you're going to want to check those bands tightness periodically. You're going to want to come in here and make sure they haven't loosened up, because they do tend to loosen up over time. But after you've cooked on this new setup for a few times, check that tension and make sure that everything's good to go. So until next time, this is John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.